Hello, this is Annette Whipple. Good morning, Annette.
Hello, Kathy. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. We're here to celebrate her new release, her newest release. She's written several books. Yes, we're both holding it up. Quirky Critter, and it's a devotional. It's 52 animals, wild wonders for kids, it says. And everything, there's like several animals within different categories. You have, um, let's see, mammals, insects, amphibians, birds, fish, reptiles, and spiders. And there's several in each category. And what it does, this is the first one. This is about a wolf, a timber wolf, a gray wolf. And it has a really interesting information about the wolf here that kids will love. I know kids just love to read about animals. And then this is a little part over here that talks about well, their size, their length, what they eat, and that kind of thing. And then there's some other little pictures here too of wolves. The next page, though, is really, really different. I mean, you can find a lot of nonfiction books about animals, but what you won't find is a devotional that has a Bible verse right here, and then a question, like, and it actually ties in like the end of the end of this one, um, leads to being an encourager for all. And it leads right into the Bible verse, and then it asks a question. And this one is, it's kind of dark in this room here. Make a list of several friends or family members you want to encourage this week. So then you would have, if it was a younger child, you could write it for them, or if they're old enough to write, they can write that there. And then right here is a prayer, like a little prayer. And then here is a little wild wonder, a little cartoon wolf. And it talks a little bit about one little quick fact, like he can eat 20 pounds of meat at a time. That's too much meat.
At a time. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
wild.
it's crazy. But then not even done then. On this page, you have like an interactive element, which is like, oh, it could be an art thing or a science thing or some kind of craft or something. This one here is about a creature connection. So you're going to make like an origami wolf, and inside you're going to have names of people. I think it was names of people that you're going to encourage. And oh, it's really cute.
Yeah.
And so that is like having this interactive element really, really helps. I think for like really any school or any home that is working on teaching their kids anything about faith, the Christian faith, this book would be amazing because you've got 52, one for each week of the year, and kids would just love this. They would look forward to this, I think.
Yeah. And that's the goal. So yeah, I wrote the devotions, and every devotion has lots of facts about the animal. And then, that the last paragraph or so is that God connection. And that just kind of flows right into the journaling, which might be faith related. It might be more personal with just life in general instead of a God connection. But all of it is meant to encourage children to really think about their world, think about the amazing animals in it, and how it all connects to God and how He did this. And yeah, each of those has a creature connection so that kids can get hands on somehow doing something related to the animal. It might be loosely related, but it'll be related to that animal. And some are very, very direct too. But it was a lot of fun to research and to write and just, and we decided to do, the Quirky Creator Devotions 52 Wild Wonders for kids. With that 52, there will be some kids who want to plow through this one a day,
Mm-hmm.
and that's awesome. But
Yeah.
there's a lot there. And especially for those who are doing it as a family and actually doing the journaling, the creature connection, if they're actually doing each of the things, they really might want to take a few days or a full week for it. And that will just depend on the family or the person who is reading. But
Mm-hmm.
it's, yeah, just there's a lot there on purpose. And not everyone wants to journal. Not everybody loves that writing element, but they might love the hands-on creature connection instead.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah.
Well, great. Tell us a little bit about how long it took you to put this together and like,
Oh, that's a funny question because it actually, I think the idea came in 2016. And this was not the idea. The idea was an insect
no.
series with God connections, with really strong faith connections throughout. And an editor was interested in that, but it didn't work out. And so I'm like, well, I still want to write about insects and I still want it connected to faith. And so I transformed it to a new idea. And that was transformed again. And it took and I don't mean like just revisions, I mean like total transformations. We went from an insect book series, just kind of informational expository, to a devotional. But it took 4 tries, 4 major transformations over almost 8 years.
That's long,
Um,
but it
yes.
is amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, and so before this, I was actually thinking an insect devotional is what I was thinking, and I'm like, oh, and I had that in my mind for a while, and then I had the opportunity to pitch at a Christian writing conference. It was online. This was, I think it was in 2021, so when everything was still online, and I pitched. Instead of the insect, I decided at that time, it's like I hadn't worked on it in a while. I was working on some other projects, but it's like I don't want it to just be insects anymore. I want it to be animals in general. And then that was when I decided to really have categories um, okay, well, and I was thinking 49 at first, 7 mammals, 7 birds, 7 reptiles.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when it's like, well, if it's 49, why not just 52? So it
Right.
didn't take me long to get there. And Tyndale, the publisher, agreed that would be a good amount. And so yeah, so each section, so instead of all the animals being mixed up throughout, each is in part of a section in this book. So this begins the amphibian section with information about general amphibians, and then followed by um, the actual hopping into the devotions.
Right.
So
Right. That's great. And you must have had, I don't know, how do you do your research? I mean,
um,
that's a big question.
because it was 52 different animals, um, most of the research was online. And there were some animals that I had written about, like you can see back here, I've written about dogs and owls and spiders. And so once in a while, some of that research would overlap, but not in big ways. But most of my research was online, and I would spend a couple days with each animal and researching, learning about them, thinking about them, thinking about that God connection, because it was really important to me to not stretch that connection to faith. Um, and so, um, and so it's not a stretch, but it's personal and it's something relatable to children. But the research was really neat. So there were times that I'm doing the research and I can't spend, like when I'm researching a whole book, and these are picture books, so they're short, but they're still a book, a full book about one kind of animal, one type. And I didn't have months to research each animal. So, but there was this one situation with the marine iguana, who's included in here. And I had a question about the marine iguana that I had not been able to find in my research.
Mhm.
Had not been able to find. And I was listening to a science podcast where a marine iguana expert was interviewed, and
Oh,
it was a really good it was a really good interview, but it didn't answer my question.
oh no. But you had to call them.
Well, I knew the person's name. I believe they were, it's been a few years now, so it's a little foggy, but I'm pretty sure they were um part of a university.
Uh-huh.
And so I was able to email them and asked my question. And I got it answered. And so you wouldn't believe how much it added to the book. It added 5 whole words.
Wow, was that all?
That's all. But it was a question I had. It was a question that I had. And my thought is, if I have that question, kids might too.
Well, I'm gonna have to look at that now.
So yeah, it doesn't always, sometimes the research is quick and easy, but sometimes there's a nagging question that needs to be answered, even if it only answers or
Fine.
adds just a tiny little bit to the book. But
Yeah.
yeah, I actually counted afterwards and it added 5 words.
That's hilarious. Oh, and so what age group would you say this is meant for?
Well, the publishing world likes to put books into little pockets of age groups, and officially, this is for ages 8 to 12. So it would be called a middle grade book. However, I have already heard about preschoolers loving it. I so appreciate already hearing some of that feedback. So that would be read aloud to younger children. But really, a 6-year-old will really appreciate it being read to. But I really think the solid age that most interest will be like 6 or 7 to 11, although the official is 8 to 12. But there will be a lot of children who want it read to them. And it's very visual too. So if it's very visual. So there's a lot to be looking at for the
Mhm.
non-readers. In addition to the photographs, here we have, oops, this way. Here we have the fast facts for, just the statistics, the quick statistics about the animal, what they eat, their size, and even how big they are. So there's just something, to keep the minds busy, to keep the curious minds busy, because do want to celebrate curiosity.
Yeah, that's a great thing. I'm so glad that this is out. I mean,
Me
I was
too.
looking in Amazon and I don't think there's any other books like this. I don't,
There are some, I want to say it's called Indescribable. There's a couple of devotions that are like the wider science world
mhm,
and devotions for children. So that faith focus with the larger science world, whether it's like, space or plants or a little bit of everything, but this has a tighter focus than that. But yeah, I think it's going to meet a need. And
mhm,
I think it's really important for us to not be afraid to tie science to faith.
absolutely.
Um,
I mean, who made the
yeah.
animals? And they all have a purpose, even if it's just to be food.
Or
So,
annoying, yes.
and that kind of brings me to a little side note. I'm thinking about, I am writing, I'm working on it, another series of early readers,
Mhm.
but it's going to be animals that are kind of thought of as disgusting. I would love to talk about this with you sometime because I'm going to feature a turkey vulture. He's going to be in all the books. He's, is he in here? Okay.
Yes.
A turkey.
I didn't want to just include the exotic
vulture.
I mean, I didn't include fleas. I
Yeah,
didn't include, I could have.
yeah.
But yeah, they have an important purpose. And even if they're not very attractive and they're scavengers but they're still important. So yeah,
That
I
and then I have a bat, um,
Mhm.
and the squirrels. I have a squirrel family, and then squirrels aren't necessarily disgusting though.
No, they're kind of cute.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they're rodents, but they're
But
cute.
then I know I have Pip opossum. Pip, I have an opossum, and she's got her kids. She's got some
Mhm.
5 Joeys, two Jacks, and 3 Jills. So I've been having fun doing research on these animals. And then what's the other one? A crow. They're very fascinating too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be called, I'm not sure what it's going to be, maybe White Oak Woods or something like that. But I might call it Boone something because the turkey vulture's in all of them, kind of like Ollie the dog was in all of the other ones for Bandana Acres. So he's going to be like the Boone. So I might call it Boone something.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yay. Yeah.
That's still in the formative stages.
Yeah, I did include the little brown bat in here too. My and when my when we were reading as a family, my husband said, because, I kept using the term little brown bat. That's its actual common name, not the
It is.
scientific name, but that is its name, even
Yes.
though it sounds
There's a
cute.
big one. There's a big one too. And then there's one called a hoary bat, Hoary.
I don't know that one.
That one's kind of neat. And he's like the what did they say in there when I was doing research? He's like the good looking one. You know,
Ah,
he's the George
he's
Clooney of bats.
yeah, he's the one that everyone wants to photograph.
Yeah. And I found a lot of good research on how to draw bats and things and their structure. It's really interesting. But anyway, animals are fascinating. Facts are
They
fascinating.
are. They are. Yes.
So, and
Facts are fun.
I talked to a mom yesterday well, not yesterday, but the day before, and she said that her kids love nothing more than to read anything about animals. They just pick up a book about animals. That's what the kids love.
Yay. Well, you know what? So I'll just share this. So we have this, but we also, and these are not cut apart so that you can actually see them, but we actually have quirky critter question cards,
Oh,
which it's just another element. So they're printable, available on my website, and these aren't cut apart yet. They could be printed on cardstock. You could even have them printed on like photograph paper, something like that. But so, it's something that's not in the book because it's a question related to the animal that the answer would be in the text, as well as a personal question. Some of them are life related, others are faith related, but so those are open ended, but the
awesome.
answers for the animal questions are actually on there and upside down.
I see that.
So just
That's
wanted to,
great.
but yeah, those are available for free at my website. You don't even need to give an email address because I'd like to just make sure that it's accessible.
Awesome. And what is your email address?
Or the website,
Yes.
the website is AnnetteWhipple.com.
Well,
So
that's
Annette
easy.
Whipple, spelled ANNETTEWHIPPLE.com.
They're very good. Thank you so much for visiting with us today. And
Yes, it's been great being here again. So
yes,
thank you,
yes.
Kathy.
Okay.
Thank you, readers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.